You've heard of an R-Vee, but what about an LV? It stands for Living Vehicle. It's sustainable and it embraces the remote work lifestyle, so you can live comfortably anywhere you want.
Some RV years are so bad that owners are warning strangers online to stay away. No recalls, no bans, nothing officially wrong. Yet thousands were lost anyway. The damage did not come from breakdowns. It came from timing. Certain years were built under pressure, and the consequences only appeared after purchase. Most buyers never see it coming. In this video, we break down the RV years owners are trying to escape and why buying the wrong year costs more than any repair. Jayco Jay Flight model years 2020-2021. Before anyone noticed the warning signs, these RVs were being praised as practical and safe bets. That reputation is exactly why so many buyers got caught. What looked like smart timing turned into expensive ownership, and owners started comparing notes far too late. The problem was not design. It was speed. During 2020 and 2021, demand exploded. Dealers wanted inventory yesterday. Manufacturers responded by pushing volume, not patience. Jayco increased output on the Jay Flight line, and corners that were once rounded slowly started getting sharp. Owners began reporting soft flooring near slide-outs, uneven sealant lines, and electrical gremlins that did not appear on the test drive. These were not headline failures. They were the slow kind, the kind that waits until the warranty clock quietly runs out. Service invoices shared online tell the story. Multiple post-delivery adjustments, repeated water intrusion, reseals, appliances swapped earlier than expected. Individually manageable, collectively expensive, and none of it reflected in the original purchase price. Here is where your wallet takes the hit. Historically, Jayco Jay Flight depreciation followed a predictable curve. These years broke it. Trade-in offers came in noticeably lower than previous model years with similar mileage. Owners expected normal wear depreciation. Instead, they saw accelerated value loss driven by buyer hesitation. Dealers know these years carry baggage. They factor it in quietly. That means lower offers, slower sales, and fewer private buyers willing to overlook inspection reports. Even well-maintained units get lumped into the same category. Another overlooked issue was parts substitution. During this period, suppliers changed. Identical components on paper did not always perform the same in the real world. That created inconsistent outcomes across identical floor plans, which eroded buyer confidence quickly once patterns emerged. Extended service wait times made matters worse. Backlogged repair centers turned small fixes into long delays, keeping units off the road and increasing frustration among owners who expected dependable seasonal use. This damaged trust more than failures alone ever could. What makes this sting is that buyers did everything right. They avoided luxury, they chose a proven brand, they stayed practical. The failure was timing, not judgment. These RVs were built when speed mattered more than consistency, and once the market cooled, the problem compounded. Newer discounted inventory dragged resale values down even further. Owners trying to exit found themselves stuck or forced to accept losses they never planned for. If you already own one, the advice is simple. Document everything. Stay ahead on maintenance. Protect resale condition aggressively. If you are shopping, patience is cheaper than regret. R-Vee can survive a minor defect. What it struggles to survive is a season spent circling service departments. Once repairs become routine, paperwork becomes a shadow that follows the unit. That shadow changes offers even after everything is fixed. Problems are fixable, but what happens when the paper trail becomes permanent? Winnebago Minnie model year 2020. What made this RV feel safe was history, decades of trust, a name buyers associated with reliability, not risk. That familiarity lowered guardrails at exactly the wrong moment, and many owners did not realize it until months after delivery. The issue was not a single defect, it was disruption. Model year 2020 landed during shutdowns, staffing shortages, and supplier instability. Assembly lines stayed open, but consistency disappeared. Winnebago was forced to build through chaos, not around it, and that difference shows up in ownership. Early buyers noticed small things first. Interior trim loosening, cabinet hardware failing earlier than expected, appliances behaving inconsistently. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that stopped the RV outright, but enough to raise quiet concern once patterns emerged across owner forums and service departments. These were not abuse problems. Mileage was low, usage was light. The issues traced back to substituted components and inexperienced labor filling gaps left by workforce disruption. On paper, parts matched specifications. In real-world use, longevity did not match prior years. Warranty service records tell the deeper story. Repeat visits for minor corrections. Appliances replaced earlier than historical historical averages. Electrical adjustments that should not be necessary in the first ownership year. Individually tolerable, collectively exhausting. This is where your wallet feels it. Class C R-Vees already depreciate faster than trailers. Add uncertainty tied to a disrupted build year, and resale confidence weakens quickly. Listings lingered longer. Buyers hesitated. Trade-in offers softened faster than owners expected. Several owners discovered a painful reality. Loan balances stayed high while market value slipped beneath them. That gap did not come from neglect. It came from timing, and timing is rarely forgiven by resale markets. Service delays added pressure. Backlogs stretched repair timelines. Trips were postponed. Trust eroded. Owners began questioning decisions they once felt confident about, not because the layout failed, but because dependability did. What makes this year frustrating is that buyers acted responsibly. They avoided excess. They chose a proven platform. They did not chase trends. The mistake was invisible at purchase and obvious only in hindsight. If you already own one, discipline matters. Keep documentation. Address issues early. Condition becomes leverage when value is questioned later. These steps will not erase depreciation, but they can soften it. If you are shopping, this is a year to approach carefully. There are safer production windows before and after. Waiting costs less than correcting. Repairs solve problems. They don't erase history. A stack of service visits becomes a resale shadow that follows the unit into every negotiation. Buyers don't fear one fix. They fear the pattern behind the fixes. And once that fear becomes common, the year gets priced conservatively by default. If this breakdown is already changing how you look at RV buying, hit like to support real analysis, subscribe for ongoing market warnings, and share your experience in the comments below so others can avoid the same costly mistakes together. Thor Hurricane model years 2021-2022. This one did not fail quietly. It arrived during peak demand, peak pricing, and peak pressure, when manufacturers were rewarded for speed instead of discipline, and buyers rarely questioned availability. During 2021 and 2022, Thor Motor Coach pushed Hurricane production hard. Dealer lots emptied fast, floor plans turned over quickly, inspection windows shrank. What once passed through multiple quality gates began moving through fewer hands, faster hands, and newer hands. Owners noticed patterns. Electrical systems needing resets, slide mechanisms requiring repeated recalibration, trim pieces loosening despite light use. None of these issues alone defined the RV. Together, they created ownership fatigue. Service departments quietly filled the gap. Warranty visits stacked up. Technical service bulletins circulated internally. Repairs were made, but documentation followed the unit long after fixes were completed. That paper trail matters more than most buyers realize. Here is where the financial damage shows. The Hurricane sits in the mid-range Class A category, where buyers expect durability and resale confidence. When repeated service history appears, trade managers adjust numbers, not dramatically, consistently. Value erodes through caution, not collapse. Listings from these years stayed active longer. Price reductions followed. Comparable units from earlier years began outperforming newer models on the same lots. That reversal is a signal. It tells buyers something changed. The change was not design philosophy. It was throughput. Volume masked defects long enough to ship units, but not long enough to protect long-term ownership. As the market cooled, those units surfaced again, carrying their history with them. Owners who planned short-term ownership felt the impact first. Expected exit values did not materialize. Financing math stopped working. Some accepted losses to move on. Others held longer, hoping the market would correct upward. Dealers adapted quickly. Offers softened. Appraisals leaned conservative. Even clean Hurricanes from these years faced skepticism, simply because patterns existed elsewhere. This frustrates careful buyers. They did not chase luxury, they chose a recognizable platform. They trusted scale to equal stability. Instead, scale amplified risk. If you own one, transparency protects you. Maintain records, address issues promptly. Presentation and proof reduce suspicion when value is questioned. If you are shopping, know this. Discounts on these years are not generosity. They are compensation for uncertainty. Sometimes that math works. Often, it does not. Premium pricing buys one thing above all: predictability. That's fine until the market removes it. When identical units appear priced lower shortly after purchase, the owner doesn't feel depreciation, they feel ambushed. The balance stays heavy while value lightens fast, and tolerance for even small issues collapses. That's where panic begins. Keystone Montana model year 2022. At first glance, nothing seemed wrong. These R-Vees looked solid, well-finished, and confidently priced. Buyers stepped up, believing premium meant protection. That assumption became the most expensive part of the purchase. Model year 2022 landed at the exact peak of the market. Demand was still high, pricing was aggressive, and production pressure had not eased. Keystone pushed Montana output hard, expecting momentum to continue. Instead, the market began cooling underneath those units. Owners did not report immediate failures. The issues surfaced gradually. Frame stress concerns discussed quietly in owner circles. Trim separation that appeared after normal travel. Slide alignment needing adjustments sooner than expected. None of it dramatic. All of it unsettling at this price point. These were R-Vees sold with confidence. Large loans, long terms, expectations of stability. When small issues appeared, buyers assumed warranty would cover everything. It did not always work that way. Some repairs fell outside coverage. Others required extended waits. The deeper issue was resale math. Montana buyers historically relied on strong secondary demand. That changed quickly. As inventory built up nationwide, dealers began cutting prices on new units. Those discounts immediately dragged down used values. Owners who purchased early in 2022 saw something alarming. Identical floor plans listed months later for tens of thousands less. Not because of condition, because timing shifted. That difference does not disappear. Trade-in appraisals reflected the shift. Conservative numbers reduced enthusiasm. Lenders noticed too. Refinancing options tightened. Equity vanished faster than owners expected. This pattern created hesitation among new buyers. Listings stayed active longer. Price reductions followed. Even well-kept R-Vees were judged against discounted new inventory, not against their actual condition or care. This hesitation reshaped negotiations, shifted leverage, and quietly transferred power back toward buyers who waited patiently. This is where frustration turned into warning. Buyers did not feel misled by design. They felt caught by timing. Premium R-Vees lost the one thing buyers paid extra for: predictability. Keystone Montana remains a respected name. That is not the issue. The issue is when these units were built and sold. Peak pricing plus early correction is a brutal combination. Service departments reported normal workloads, not disaster, but perception matters. High-dollar buyers react strongly to any uncertainty. Once confidence wavers, value follows. If you own one, preparation matters. Keep records. Address issues immediately. Presentation protects leverage later. Clean history helps separate your unit from the broader narrative. If you are shopping, slow down. Compare pricing across months, not weeks. Look at pre-peak years. Let inventory pressure work in your favor. The warning signal here isn't a breakdown. It's the price tag moving too fast. When identical floor plans appear cheaper within months, normal resale plans collapse instantly. The unit didn't change, the market did. And when the market moves first, owners feel trapped because loan timelines are slow and repricing timelines are brutal. Forest River, Georgetown model year 2023. The warning did not come from breakdowns. It came from price tags changing too fast. Buyers noticed it first on dealer lots, then online, then in their own loan statements. Something was wrong, and it had nothing to do with how these R-Vees drove. Model year 2023 arrived into a market already bending. Inventory was high, interest rates were climbing, demand was softening quietly. Forest River continued shipping Georgetown units as if momentum still existed. It did not. Owners took delivery at confident prices. Financing was approved, paperwork closed. Then, within months, identical floor plans appeared, thousands lower. Same model year, same trim, same promise. Different reality. Interior complaints followed. Not catastrophic, but noticeable. Cabinet alignment slightly off. Fit and finish that felt rushed. Issues that should not exist at this price level. Buyers tolerated them, assuming value would hold. It did not. Dealer listings told the real story. Multiple price reductions. Extended time on market. Units relisted after failed sales. The market was speaking clearly, even if sales staff avoided the conversation. Here is where your wallet feels it immediately. Buyers who planned to trade within a few years lost leverage fast. Appraisals came in lower than expected. Equity vanished before the first anniversary of ownership. This was not where. Mileage stayed low. Usage was careful. The loss came from oversupply and timing, not neglect. That distinction matters because it means recovery is unlikely. Forest River Georgetown had always occupied a comfortable middle ground. Not entry level, not elite, dependable. That positioning failed when too many units chased too few buyers. As new inventory sat, dealers discounted aggressively. Those discounts dragged down used values overnight. Owners watched their R-Vees reprice themselves without warning. Service departments reported normal workloads. No major recalls, no dramatic failures. And that made the situation worse. Buyers could not point to a fix. The problem was structural. This created hesitation. Private buyers paused. Dealers adjusted offers. Lenders tightened assumptions. Confidence slipped quietly, then completely. Owners began sharing experiences, not anger, frustration. They had done nothing wrong. They bought at the wrong moment. If you own one, control what you can. Maintain condition. Keep documentation. Presentation matters when perception turns negative. If you are shopping, understand this year carries timing risk, not mechanical disaster. Waiting creates leverage. Oversupply favors patience. Most owners expect depreciation to move by seasons. This phase makes it move by weeks. When listings undercut recent buyers almost immediately, the owner isn't negotiating against other sellers, they're negotiating against fresh discounts. Add minor early service needs, and confidence drops fast. Not because it's catastrophic, but because it feels unstable from day one. Coachmen Freelander, model year 2023. It started with a feeling buyers could not shake. The price seemed right. The timing felt careful, and yet something moved underneath them the moment the paperwork was signed. These R-Vees did not wait to age before losing ground. Model year 2023 arrived during a quiet slowdown. Dealer lots were already full, interest rates were rising, demand was thinning, but production continued anyway. Coachmen shipped Freelander units into a market that no longer needed them. Buyers took delivery expecting stability. Instead, they watched listings appear within weeks at lower numbers. Same year, same chassis, same layout, different price. That is not depreciation. That is market correction happening too late. Early ownership revealed another pattern. Minor issues surfaced quickly. Electrical adjustments, cabinet alignment fixes, appliance behavior that required service attention sooner than expected. Nothing catastrophic. Everything inconvenient. Enough to send owners back to service bays repeatedly. Warranty covered some repairs. Time covered the rest. Service delays stretched. Parts availability lagged. Trips were postponed. Confidence slipped quietly. Here is where the wallet impact sharpens. Class C R-Vees already shed value faster than many buyers anticipate. When oversupply enters the equation, depreciation accelerates beyond planning. Owners expecting modest losses instead faced five-figure adjustments in perceived value. Trade-in offers reflected that shift. Dealers hesitated, appraisals softened. Comparable units from earlier years held better than newer ones. That reversal signals distrust, not wear. Online listings told the same story. Units sat longer, prices dropped in steps. Sellers chased the market downward, buyers waited. Time favored those who had not purchased yet. This was not a failure of design philosophy, it was a failure of timing discipline. Coachmen Freelander production continued as if the market had not changed. Buyers paid the difference. Owners did everything right. They avoided excess. They chose practical layouts. They trusted a familiar name. The mistake was invisible until prices corrected beneath them. Some owners chose to hold longer, hoping time would soften the damage. Others exited early and absorbed losses they never planned for. Neither path felt fair. Both outcomes were dictated by timing, not care or neglect. If you own one, control what remains. Maintain condition relentlessly. Document every service visit. Address issues early before perception hardens. Presentation matters when value is questioned. If you are shopping, pause deliberately. Compare listings month to month. Watch inventory aging on lots. Let dealers carry the pressure instead of you, while patience quietly improves your leverage. That discipline protects equity and prevents rushed mistakes. The alarm shows up in two places, the invoice and the lot. Prices change after delivery. Incentives stack on units still sitting. Dealers compete against themselves. Owners can't compete with that once they've signed. That's why warning years spread, because people realize the wrong year can be the year the market turned. Industry-wide warning year, model year 2024. Nothing announced the danger out loud. There was no recall, no headline, no collapse you could point at on a chart. Instead, the warning appeared quietly, right where buyers least expect it. On the invoice, on the listing, on the price tag changing after delivery. Model year 2024 was not about one brand failing, it was about the entire RV industry misreading the room. Production continued as if demand would rebound. It did not. Inventory piled up, financing tightened, buyers slowed, the math broke. Owners noticed first when identical R-Vees showed up discounted weeks after purchase. Same model year, same trim, sometimes the same lot. The value shifted before the first trip ended. That is not depreciation, that is timing failure. Dealers felt it immediately. Floor plan interest accumulated daily, units aged, incentives grew, price reductions followed. None of that helped owners who already signed at peak pricing. This year carries a unique risk. It launched into falling demand and rising caution. Buyers who expected normal first-year value loss instead faced accelerated repricing across the board. Trailers, Class C, Class I. No category was spared. Service departments were not overwhelmed. That made the problem worse. There was no mechanical villain to blame. The loss came from oversupply and credit conditions, not quality alone. That means recovery is slow. Online listings show the pattern clearly. Repriced units, extended days on market, dealers competing against themselves, private sellers forced to chase prices downward. Here is where your wallet feels trapped. Loans written at higher interest rates, values resetting lower, refinancing options shrinking, exit costs rising, owners stuck between holding longer or absorbing losses. This year punished impatience. Buyers who rushed feared missing out. Instead, they locked in losses. Buyers who waited gained leverage without lifting a finger. Manufacturers responded late. Production slowed only after inventory aged. By then, the damage spread. New inventory pulled used values down. Used inventory pressured new pricing further. A feedback loop formed. This is not about fear, it is about awareness. Model year 2024 R-Vees are not defective. They are mispositioned in time. Markets do not forgive that easily. If you own one, protect what you can. Keep condition immaculate. Document everything. Time becomes your ally only if patience replaces panic. If you are shopping, this is the clearest guidance in the entire list. Wait. Inventory pressure is still building. Incentives follow pressure. Better timing costs nothing. Because when an entire industry overproduces into slowing demand, buyers who pause win quietly, keeping leverage while inventory ages. Those who rushed learn lessons. Resale numbers never forget. This list ends here intentionally. Earlier examples showed stress fractures forming. This final warning exposes the fault line beneath pricing, financing, and timing. Understand this moment. Slow your decisions, watch pressure build, and let the market concede first before you commit your money. Patience rewards preparation, discipline, clarity, confidence, protection, leverage, stability. This list was never about panic or fear. It was about timing, awareness, and protecting your money before it slips away quietly. Markets move faster than owners expect, and patience keeps leverage on your side. Do you think this window is still opening or starting to close? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this helped you slow down and think strategically, hit like and subscribe to stay informed while smart buyers wait and let the market come to them.